Welcome back to the 2245 build that we're doing. Next up, we're going to be adding the Tandemkross Kanewolf Slingshot kit. So the way this works is pretty much basically it puts it changes out your magazine, your bolt catch, and puts a new one in with a little spring and detent that rides inside there. So it puts downward pressure on this. So normally on these guns, when you have an empty mag, obviously it locks open. But one of the sad things about this design of this gun is there was never any way to just slingshot your bolt home. No matter what you do, it's not going to go home. You have to push down on your bolt release. So Tandemkross came up with a kind of a cool way to get around that and fix it. So we're going to install the Kanewolf now. This one also is not very difficult. It's fairly straightforward. Like I said in the other video, I found a really cool trick with my Leatherman squirt. Use the key ring on it, up and hook inside the pane. There we go. Out that goes. There we go. Pull this out. So you're going to take your gun all the way down, just like that. And remember, as you can see, no magazine. So that bushing that we put in last video, so helpful. So what we're going to be removing is the bolt release, or bolt catch, whatever you want to call it. And to do that, we're going to drive this front trigger pin out, which will allow the whole mechanism to pop out. We'll remove the old version, put in the new Kanewolf, put it back together and do a little testing and make sure it works. So let's get started. So in here, just like in the other one, in the previous video, this pin doesn't just ride out. You can't just push it out. It is locked in place with a little spring. On this one, you guys definitely will not be able to see this spring, but it's basically hidden right under the front of this arm. So the best way I've found to actuate it is to take something sharp, take something pointy that will fit down in there, push down on that spring, which will allow the pin to run out. So the spring actually rides along the bottom of the pin. It rides down into here and rides along the bottom of the pin and back up the other side. So there's a little head right here on the pin or on the spring that you can push on. So we're going to use the knife on my Leatherman. See if we can get this easily. It's probably not going to happen first try, but we'll keep going till we get it. The other way to try it is if this will fit down in there, this would work really nicely. But of course it doesn't fit well enough. So we'll keep going with this until we get it. There we go. And that's it. So you can see I gave it enough downward pressure for this pin to come out. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this pin all the way out. Just keep your thumb over in case it wants to spring. You can see that channel right there is where that where that spring rides. So take it all the way out. You're going to push backwards, basically pull your trigger. So it removes some of that tension that's on it and push it up and out of the chassis, out of the frame, like that. Be careful as you rotate this down. This, as it comes out like that, the plunger and spring in here can be under tension, and if you just let it go, it'll shoot across the room. So be really careful of that. Comes out like that, and then as you see, this has already fallen nicely out of the gun. Let me get it where it needs to go. So if you just kind of wobble this around, it's going to come out. So here's how it sits in the gun. This little detent falls into here, and that's what actually gives it the up and down click. So that will come out of it as well. Again, put this aside as before. The orientation that this fits in is these little tabs actually go into that section there on the frame. So the best way I found to put one of these in is drop in from the top, get it into where it needs to go, and then twist it backwards as it's on this side. Probably easier if it's like this. You can see it twisted backwards and it falls into that little channel. So we're gonna do the same thing with the Kanewolf. Take your old part, put it aside. You're not gonna need it any longer. Put it in your parts bin, just in case something breaks. You have an extra, get a backup. But we're gonna take our Kanewolf, which also has a little detent, but the detent functions differently. Instead of riding in the side, it's going to ride in the top. So we're gonna put the Kanewolf in first. Same as I just showed you guys, down, get the Kanewolf into where it needs to go, and then rotate it back so it will lines up in there. That's pretty much it. Eventually you're gonna have to line the hole up so the pin will go through, but we'll worry about that afterwards. Take your spring, I'm sorry, not your spring, your trigger, and the best way I found to do this, as long as it's not falling apart like this, put it back together. Come on. Again, a little tricky. If I were doing this myself, instead, not in front of a camera, I'd probably get this done so much quicker. You're gonna take your spring, put it onto its pin here, onto the pin, and then just rotate it backwards and put a little tension on it. You can see the Kanewolf just fell out. So we're gonna put that back in real quick as well. It's kind of a delicate thing trying to balance all these pieces as you put it together. You never have enough hands for something like this, unfortunately. Grab that Kanewolf and put it back. Now you can see the plunger fell out now, the spring. We'll hold that. Take this back off. Put your Kanewolf back in. Like this. Hit it, rotate it down. Hold it in place. There we go. Take your trigger and your plunger and spring. Put it all back together. This is gonna take a couple tries. If this is the first time you've done it, probably gonna take you a couple tries, but you'll get it. It's not a big deal. There we go. Make sure the plunger's under there. Put the whole thing back together, like that, just like that. And then we're going to take our pin. Remember, the channel is on the right side of the gun. So take your pin and start it through. Find where it needs to go. Again, over here, all you really need to do is give that trigger a pull, and it'll kind of help line it back up with where it needs to be. Come on, there we go. And it clicks in place. And now it's locked in with that spring. Of course, we're not quite done yet. Last piece of this puzzle is on the top of the Kanewolf. Oh man, it's hard to show you guys. Up inside in here is where that little, you can see the Glock tool goes in there. There's a little hole where this spring and detent go into. So all you're really gonna do is kind of force this in very gently. Let's see. Get the spring to go down into that hole. It's probably the hardest part here. Come on. Like that, and then kind of rock it back in place. I know I'm blocking the light for you guys. Sorry about that. It's very difficult to do this sideways and on camera. Let me grab it real quick. Ugh. Again, probably the hardest part of this whole thing is fitting this in. So, in and drop. In, come on, go in. Has a tendency to bind up, which is part of the problem. Can hear it probably. There we go. There it is. All right, that's it. And that's pretty much the whole thing. So now, when it goes up and down, you can see that mine is a little bit snug actually, so I'm gonna have to do a little bit of work to, there we go. So you can see as it rides in the spring channel, it will force itself back down like that. It probably will take a little bit of time to wear in, but that's pretty much the whole thing. We can put our gun back together and do a testing. I'm not 100% confident it's going to work first time. I think there is going to be a little bit of fitting to get this one to work, because if you push this up too hard, that detent likes to get stuck down in the hole. So if that's the case, if that continues to happen, I'm gonna do some fitting on my own to make sure it's correct. As always, putting this gun back together is a pain in everybody's butt. Put that up. Push this in. Like that. Bring that sear back. And bring the sear. There we go. Grab that. Just like that. Push this in. Okay, it's working. Let's see if this actually functions. I'm not confident, but we'll see. Magazine in. There you go, locks open. Drop your magazine. Rides home. Pretty much it. Mag in. Let's see, come on. So it is kind of finicky because that spring isn't perfect every time. So this one might need some time to wear in, but we'll see how it goes. Pull back, goes home. Pretty nice. It's a nice addition. I'm going to continue to test it, see how I feel about it. May make some changes. We'll see. But there you go. That's the Kanewolf addition to the 2245 project. I hope you guys like it. Obviously, if you liked the video, if you found it helpful, if you enjoy my ramblings, hit the thumbs up. Hopefully Google will be good enough to me to allow you guys to find this easily, anybody that's trying to put one of these together. That's pretty much it. I'll catch you guys on the next one, which is going to be really fun. We're going to put the Volquartsen trigger kit into this gun, and that's going to be, it's going to be a long video, so get ready for that. All right, bye.